My name is Jenny Bell, and in this video I'll be sharing an answer to the question of who is an ascended master? A term that we hear in modern spirituality is ascended master, and a lot of people are confused as to exactly what that means and who is an ascended master. So I'm going to go over the different ideas about ascended masters and some examples of ascended masters, and then some suggestions on how to work with ascended masters. So first of all, I will say that my background is I was raised Catholic, and then around the age of 13, I was initiated into witchcraft and paganism. And so in the idea of witchcraft and paganism, we celebrate and connect with ancient gods and goddesses. They are now considered a part of the Ascended Masters group. So I have Kyle Gray's Keeper of the Light deck as kind of an example for today. So for instance, Kali Ma, she's a Hindu goddess. She would be considered an Ascended Master, which is interesting because she's a goddess and so never was a human. Because the actual term of an Ascended Master is someone who was a human, walked a human life, much like Jesus, right? Was a human, walked on the earth, and then ascended out of the samsara, out of the reincarnation cycle, to be a part of God, but still connected enough with humanity and the earth to help those who are yet to ascend. So much like a bodhisattva. So a bodhisattva in Buddhism is someone who could be a Buddha, who has reached the point of enlightenment that they could ascend completely back to God, to go back to source, become part of God again, as all done with their lives. But instead of becoming a Buddha, has chosen to stay in the earthly area, not reincarnate anymore, but stay connected to those on earth to help them ascend into bodhisattva or Buddhahood. So that's what an ascended master is. There's someone who walked the earth and ascended past reincarnation because they learned all their lessons, they worked out all their karma, they don't have to come back, and they have chosen to stick around though and help humanity continue to ascend and move on and go to heaven or go back to God, whatever your belief is. Now where it gets a little tricky is we have goddesses who are still celebrated, like Hindu goddesses, or ancient goddesses like Brede, also known as Saint Bridget, put in with the Ascended Masters. Now some of these, there are some earth stories about these goddesses and gods, but for the most part, they never were human. And so that's where it gets a little muddled for me too. So I really feel like we should use the collective term like ancient gods and goddesses and Ascended Masters. Like that would be a better term. So these kind of people like characters or aspects of the divine have never been human, but they are individual aspects of God or divinity. And how I thought of it when I was learning witchcraft or paganism, and how I still think of it as now, is there's only one God, source, universe, whatever term you're familiar with or comfortable with. There's only one. However, humans have given names. Humans, through time and through culture and societies, have given names to only one aspect of God, right? So like Kali Ma, right? They have prayed to Kali Ma. They have really singled her out as one aspect of God. And so she has become not separate from God. She is still God and a part of God, but she's become a particular way for you to communicate with God. It is the same thing with angels. So people who pray to angels, it's like a certain aspect of divinity. And much like angels, these gods and goddesses are here to help humanity evolve and ascend, right? So I think that's why they've all been put into the term of Ascended Master. And so really praying to Bridget or Saint Bridget or Brede, as the Celts called her, is very similar if you pray to angels. It's an aspect of divinity, a particular part of divinity that you can communicate with. Why do people do that? I always did that because I felt like God is so big. And in my opinion, God is the Ein Sof, the all-nothing and the all-seeing. It's like everything and nothing at once. I actually, when I view God, I see God as a black hole in the cosmos, not because I think God is empty, but because God is everything and nothing at once. And I personally think that we all come from Source, and then Source is kind of hands-off from there, wanting us to live through our wheels of karma, and then return to Source with creation and knowledge. Not really particularly hands-on. But the angels, ascended masters, bodhisattvas, goddesses, and gods, they want to help. They're here to assist us. They want to connect with us, and they want to help us in these ways of getting back to God, to evolve. The ultimate goal is to go back to Source and become part of Source, part of light, right? We all have it in us. We work through all these lessons, we reincarnate, we have all this karma, and then the goal is to not do it anymore, to live so many lives, go through all our lessons, and return to Source. And they want to do that. They're more hands-on, and they don't just intervene. I mean, occasionally we hear stories of people seeing angels and intervening, but most of the time they are working from a place of not going to do anything unless you ask, right? Also sort of hands off. Like, if you don't want the help, we're not gonna just go and offer it. It's like they want to give you that space and that independence. Okay, so hopefully you're following me. So an ascended master can be an aspect of the divinity, a particular aspect like a goddess, can be a bodhisattva like Kuan Yin, can also be a actual person who has ascended past their lives, has done all their work, and is here to help humanity. Now, the term ascended master was created by Madame Blavatsky. I think I'm saying her name right. She would channel these ascended masters. She was part of like a spiritualist movement, and she kind of coined this term. And there were certain ascended masters that she connected with, like El Morya and Hilarion, and there's kind of these, we know of them as like being human and having a human life and ascending past. So that's another aspect of of ascended master. And then the last type is more of like a modern take on cosmic beings, what we would have maybe call aliens, right? So the divine director, these beings from another planet, a lot of people identify as a starseed. There might be Palladian beings, or beings from Venus, like Lady Venus, right? So we have these star beings. So the term ascended master is this huge blanketed term for old and ancient goddesses and gods like Isis, Osiris, right? Bodhisattvas like Kuan Yin, ascended masters in the spiritualist religion community like El Morya, and then these modern kind of starseed cosmic beings like the divine director, Sanat Kumara, right? And so you have all of these beings. Now, it may seem a little muddled. It's because spirituality pulls from other religions, right? So when someone says, I'm a spiritual person, that means they're just doing their own thing to get close to God, right? And that might mean, like I had a friend call it cut and paste religion. And that might mean that they're doing that. They're taking like, I really like Hanukkah. I was raised with Hanukkah. I continue to celebrate that. But I'm also going to bring in some aspects of Buddhism and this and that. It's a cut and paste religion. It's their own path. So when two people can say, I'm on a spiritual path, and they may have radically different paths and beliefs. Ascended masters are this blanketed term for beings for people to connect with, to go further on that path, however they want to go. So, if you really identify as a starseed, you're going to work with those starseed beings. If you really connect with, maybe, you really feel a connection to ancient Egypt, you'll start working with those ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses. And that's, where we're going with ascended masters, because people have asked me, what's the difference, or what is an ascended master? It's a really big blanketed term. And the reason why is because spirituality is a cut and paste faith, right? It is people who maybe grew up in one way or didn't, and see aspects of everything. Me personally, at the age of 10, I stopped really identifying as being Catholic, and I started researching, going to the library. I learned about Buddhism. I learned about all kinds of things. I became friends with a Jewish person, and I learned about Judaism. I became friends with a Buddhist. I became friends with an atheist. Like I just really started searching. Studied world religions at the university. I've just studied and studied because I think religion is fascinating to me, and what people will do in the name of religion is even more fascinating. And so for me, yes, I am a spiritual person. What does that mean? It means something different to me than it would mean to you. And so with Ascended Masters, how you simply connect to them is how you would connect to an angel. You just start by maybe doing a meditation and simply praying to them. Thank you, El Morye, for connecting with me. What is it that you have to show me? And when you're looking at which Ascended Masters to connect with, there's no wrong way, there's no wrong one. I personally use the Keepers of the Light deck mixed with the Archangels of Angel prayers, and I pull every week, and I just say, thank you, angels and guides, for guiding me, helping me choose who I should connect with this week. And then whoever comes up, I work with. And oftentimes it's, it's always right on. Like there's, I'd find a meditation that goes with that particular aspect, or a prayer, or I do artwork or something. I connect with them in some way, and there's always some lesson for me to learn. And so it's an interesting path. It opens up who you can connect with, and opens up, like your connection with God. It goes beyond just God and source. You can start connecting with these aspects and these beings of light who want to help you ascend, who are a little more hands-on. I've been working with Ascended Masters technically since age 13, but I would have just called them gods and goddesses. Like I always knew that there was only one source, and these were just aspects of God. But I liked connecting with these aspects. I feel a deep connection with Kuan Yin. I have a deep connection with Isis. And so I say I've been working with them a long time, but the term Ascended Master is new to me. I really learned about it when I got my Keepers of the Light deck, and instantly felt a recognition, a connection. And I hope this answers that question. It's a big question, but I hope it gives you a general enough overview that you can feel confident in knowing what an Ascended Master is. If you have further questions, please leave them in the comments for me. And as always, I appreciate a like and a subscribe. Thank you.